He looked me dead in the eyes, the person I'd shared 6 years of my life with, and said, "I want to get married one day. I'm just not sure it's going to be to you." That moment wrecked me. It wasn't a breakup, but it felt like being left in limbo, like someone opened a trapdoor beneath everything I'd believed was real. My name is Rachel, I'm 29, and until that night, I was planning my wedding in my head, without knowing the groom wasn't on board. Jared and I met at a rooftop party in Atlanta when I was 23 and he was 30. He was witty in a way that wasn't arrogant, and when he offered to walk me to my car at the end of the night, I remember thinking, God, I hope he texts me tomorrow. He did. And he kept texting. Then came our first dinner, Peruvian food, cheap cocktails, and 3 hours of talking like we already knew each other. Within 5 months, I had a drawer at his place. By year 2, we'd moved in together into a townhouse just outside Decatur. Every corner of that place held memories: burnt pancakes on Sunday mornings, late-night binge sessions of trashy reality TV, arguments about whose turn it was to clean the bathroom. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We traveled, we grew careers, we adopted a cranky cat named Baxter. And through it all, we talked about, someday, that vague word that floats into relationships like a promise no one is brave enough to define. Until last week, when I finally asked the question directly, "Do you ever plan to marry me?" And Jared flinched. "I love you, Ratch. But I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'll ever be." He didn't say it cruelly. That almost made it worse. Because there was no anger to fight against, just the quiet realization that I'd built my future on a foundation of maybe. It wasn't sudden. I had been dropping hints since last spring. A forwarded wedding Pinterest board here. Look at this venue. While watching a rom-com. Nothing aggressive, just soft nudges. His responses started off sweet. Yeah, that'd be nice one day. But slowly, they turned vague. Then indifferent. On our 5th anniversary last July, we went to St. Lucia. It was all so romantic, so perfect, that I actually got a manicure before the trip, just in case. But the only ring I got was a pineapple slice on a daiquiri glass. I tried to shake off the disappointment, told myself not to ruin the vacation. But after we got back, the questions from friends and family ramped up. 6 years, huh? Planning a wedding soon? Is he dragging his feet? Even Jared's mother, sweet, soft-spoken Eleanor, once said with a wink, "I've got my outfit picked out already, you know." But nothing. No progress. No clarity. Just Jared smiling nervously and changing the subject. And somewhere in all that silence, a question began to grow like mold in the back of my mind. What if I'm just convenient? Comfortable? What if I'm not the dream, just a placeholder? Then last Thursday I broke. I waited until after dinner, the dishes were still in the sink, and I asked again. I needed a straight answer. His response? "I see myself married one day. I just don't know if that person is you." That's when the shaking started. My hands, my voice, my certainty. All of it cracked. "You don't know if it's me? After 6 years? I'm sorry. I love you. But I don't want to promise something I'm not sure I can give." And just like that, the life I thought I had vanished in a single breath. I didn't cry in front of him. I waited until I was locked inside my car, parked 3 blocks away from our house, the one with the blue door and the porch swing I picked out at that little antique shop in Blue Ridge. I sat there gripping the steering wheel, trying to understand how someone could love you deeply and still not want to build a life with you. Jared had always been cautious. About money, about change, about anything that required a leap of faith. But I thought we were the exception. I thought we were his one bold choice. Instead, I was his comfortable default. The next day, I told my best friend Maddie everything. Every detail, every pause in his voice, every moment where I should have seen the signs. She listened quietly, then said something I didn't expect. "Ratch, you remember when we were 25 and you had that job offer in Portland?" I did. It was a marketing gig, huge pay bump, amazing team. I turned it down because Jared didn't want to move. That was the first time. she said. You started choosing him over yourself, and I think you never stopped. That hit me like a cold slap. Because she was right. There had been a dozen tiny compromises over the years, things I let go of for the sake of us. The city I loved. The freelance career I dreamed of. Even Baxter, Jared picked the breed because he said hypoallergenic cats were easier. When I was 17, I watched my aunt leave her husband after 20 years of marriage. She packed her entire life into the back of a pickup and drove to New Mexico with nothing but a box of cookbooks and a road map. I remember asking her, "Weren't you scared?" And she said, "Terrified. But I was more scared of wasting another year on someone who wasn't choosing me fully." That memory came rushing back as I lay on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if Jared had ever really chosen me, or if I was just the one who stayed long enough to make it hard to leave. Then came the twist. 2 days later, I was in our shared office, looking for a USB drive. I opened Jared's drawer, the one I usually avoided. Inside was a folder plain labeled Projects. I clicked it open on his laptop, expecting spreadsheets or business plans. Instead, I found a document titled Future Life Budget 2026. It was detailed. Like, deeply detailed. Mortgage estimates, school zone research, vacation schedules, a potential move to Seattle, and every budget item had names attached. Only the partner listed wasn't me. It was someone named K. At first, I thought it was a template. A placeholder. But the more I read, the more real it became. K's student loans, K's job relocation, wedding location, K prefers destination over church. And then, under notes. Don't bring this up with R until you're sure. R. Me. He was planning a future. Just not with me. I couldn't breathe. I read the file again. Then again. Line by line, hoping there was some innocent explanation for why my partner of 6 years had a detailed life plan with someone whose name started with K. And why, tucked into the notes section, was a chilling reminder not to bring it up with me until he was sure. I stared at the screen, my stomach a hollow pit. K wasn't a placeholder. K had a whole identity. A life that intersected with Jared's in ways I never knew existed. I wish I could say I confronted him immediately. I didn't. I closed the file, put the USB back, and went for a walk. It was cold outside, but I barely felt it. I just kept walking, looping through our neighborhood like I was trying to rewind the last 6 years and pick apart every moment I missed something. Then it hit me. I've met Kay before. Kyle. Jared's old college roommate. The one who used to visit us twice a year. The one who always stayed in the guest room, but whose towels somehow ended up in our bathroom. The one Jared once called the only person who really gets me. The guy I caught him texting at 1 a.m. a few months ago. Jared claimed it was a fantasy football thing. That lie suddenly glowed like a flare in my memory. When I was 16, I dated a guy named Ryan who cheated on me with his ex. I found out because I saw her name pop up while we were watching a movie. He said, "Oh, she's just a friend." A week later, she tagged him in a photo kissing her cheek. That betrayal changed something in me. Back then, I promised myself I would never ignore signs like that again. And yet here I was. 6 years deep with a man who had secretly built a future with someone else. The worst part? He still came home that night, kissed me on the forehead, and asked if I wanted Thai food. I stared at him across the table as he scrolled through his phone, laughing at a meme he'd seen, like our world wasn't one Google Doc away from collapse. And I thought, do you know that I know? Would it even matter if you did? I didn't eat. I couldn't. I excused myself early, claiming cramps, and went to bed. But I didn't sleep. Instead, I opened my laptop and searched Kyle's name. And that's when I found it. A shared Dropbox folder. Photos. Dozens of them. Jared and Kyle. Some from college. Others recent. One from last month, Kyle smiling at the camera, Jared behind him, arms wrapped around his waist, both of them barefoot on a beach in Oregon. A selfie with a caption, "Can't wait till this is our everyday." Our. I covered my mouth with my hands, trying not to scream. This wasn't about a lack of readiness. Jared wasn't confused. He wasn't unsure. He was just in love with someone else. And the woman he didn't want to marry was me. By morning, the heartbreak had calcified into clarity. I wasn't going to rage. I wasn't going to scream. I'd done enough silent suffering in the shadows of his indecision. What I needed now was proof. Words. Accountability. So I did the thing I never thought I'd do. I planned a fake engagement dinner. Maddie helped. She didn't ask questions, just booked a private dining room at Lila and Pine, a place Jared always said he wanted to take Kyle. I told him I wanted to celebrate us. That I was ready to move forward. That I had a surprise. He smiled. Hesitated, but nodded. Saturday came. I wore a pale silver dress I'd been saving for. Something special. I didn't even know what I was hoping to get out of this. Maybe I wanted him to lie to my face. Maybe I wanted to see how long he could pretend. We arrived at the restaurant. Maddie met us at the entrance with hugs and champagne. A few of our close friends were already seated, candles flickering, conversation light. Jared was charming. That same confident grin. That same warm hand on the small of my back. We toasted. To our future, I said. His glass clinked mine. And then I dropped the bomb. I'd like to say a few words. Everyone turned toward me. Jared raised an eyebrow. I pulled out my phone. My hand was steady. I didn't feel nervous anymore. I felt like someone outside my body, watching a movie I'd seen too many times. Jared, I said. You told me you weren't ready for marriage. That you needed more time to figure things out. But that wasn't true, was it? He blinked. Shifted in his seat. I kept going. You are ready. You've just been planning that future with someone else. Silence fell across the table like a curtain drop. Jared's mouth opened, but I didn't let him speak. I found the document. The budget. The vacations. The school zones. And Kyle. You and Kyle. I know everything. Now everyone was staring. Maddie gripped her wine glass like it might crack. Jared's face strained of color. Rachel, please, this isn't. It is, I said. It is exactly what it looks like. And you know what the worst part is? I would have forgiven fear. I would have forgiven doubt. But you didn't give me the chance. You strung me along while you built a second life behind my back. He looked broken then. But not in a way that evoked sympathy. He looked caught. And that was worse. A friend stood up awkwardly. Another whispered to Maddie, Is this for real? And I just smiled, finally feeling the weight begin to lift. I loved you, Jared. And you loved hiding me. I left the table without looking back. I disappeared. Not in the dramatic, vanishing act kind of way. I just stopped showing up. Stopped replying. Stopped waiting. 3 days after the dinner, Jared started texting. Then calling. Then emailing. I ignored them all. But what I didn't ignore, what I had been quietly preparing, was the paperwork. Because here's what Jared never paid attention to, all the legal and financial strings I had carefully tied up over the years. The lease on our townhouse? In my name. Utilities? Me. Baxter's adoption paperwork, the furniture, the travel points, mine. So I called our landlord. Told her I was terminating the lease early. She understood. Sorry to hear things didn't work out, she said. You always seemed like the adult in that relationship. Then I packed everything. Not in chaos, not in tears. I boxed the memories neatly. Labeled them. Left Jared's things stacked by the front door with a sticky note. The keys will deactivate by Friday. Please return the spare. And I left. I moved into a studio on the other side of town. Small. Bright. Mine. Every corner felt like breath after drowning. Maddie helped me hang string lights on the first night. We drank cheap wine and toasted to no more maybes. But I wasn't done. There was still the matter of Kyle. Now, I didn't want revenge, not the ugly kind. I wanted clarity. I wanted Jared to feel what it was like to be honest, in public. So I wrote him a letter. Not a rant. Not a threat. Just the truth. Dear Jared, I hope your future with Kyle is everything you wanted and more. I just wish you'd had the courage to tell me I was no longer part of it before I wasted 6 years believing I was. Then I printed it, folded it inside a photo from our 5th anniversary trip to St. Lucia, me, smiling in a white sundress, looking at him like he hung the stars. I mailed it to his office. No return address. Just closure, sharp and clean. And something else happened too. His mother called me. Eleanor. The sweet woman who always baked lemon bars when we visited. She left a voicemail in tears. Rachel, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. If it means anything, you were already part of this family to me. That broke me more than any of Jared's lies. Not long after, I started therapy. I journaled. I hiked. I booked a solo trip to New Mexico, following in the steps of the aunt who once taught me that survival isn't about staying, it's about choosing yourself, even when it's hard. I don't know if Jared ever told Kyle the truth. I don't care. That chapter closed the moment I remembered my worth wasn't up for debate. It's strange, starting over at 29 when you thought you had it all figured out. But it's also liberating. Now, when people ask if I'm seeing anyone, I smile. Yes, I say. Myself. And we're finally in a committed relationship.